Hello and welcome back to Kellie's Reads.
Kellie's Reads!
Last week I posted the selection word vomit video. Today, me and my oversized jumper are going to be doing a word vomit on the sequel. So this is my word vomit on The Elite by Kiera, still haven't worked out how to pronounce her name. Kiera Cass? Okay, let's just get into it. Okay, let's start with non-spoilers. This book begins exactly where the last one takes off. I don't think this book is better than the last book, but I don't think it's worse. They're both about the same level. I really liked how in this book the author introduced more complexity for the characters. So in the first book I found that a lot of the characters were just a bit too 2D and I just didn't enjoy them as much because they didn't feel like people to me and they just felt like stereotypes and cliches, and I found myself with almost no empathy for these characters. In this book the characters are better fleshed out and it was just a lot easier for me to enjoy reading the book. In the last book I found that some of the scenes or some of the things that happened were just told to us. Like the audience are told it's happened but we're not shown it. In this book the relationships between the characters are not just said to have happened but we get to see them happening, so I really enjoyed that too. So my final non-spoilery verdict is that it's a good read, and when you compare it to the first book they're both about the same level, though if I had to choose this book is definitely an improvement on the other one. Okay, non-spoilery people, you have to go now. Bye! Let's get to the spoilers. When I first started reading this book, I was sick of it before I even began. I'm just like, why can't the prince just choose someone and marry and let's just get over this? I was really excited for the rebels though, and I wasn't let down because in this book there's a lot more mention of the rebels. And the rebels to me are so intriguing and they're pretty much the sole reason I continue to read the books. The storyline with the rebels is just so much more interesting to me than a prince trying to find a queen. I think that's just my personal preference with romance. I just didn't like the way that this romance was written because it just felt too forced for me. It felt forced in the way that they were so perfect for each other. Like you just know that America and Maxon are going to end up together or have something together. Like it felt a little flat for me. It's like a Disney fairy tale without the cool musicals. I really enjoyed how Aspen was more a part of this book because I love Aspen as a character. Like I love him. I really loved him because in the previous book his backstory was in a way that you just can't help but love him. He's such a kind, caring person, and I'm really upset that America and Aspen are in a relationship because she's literally committing treason by engaging with Aspen when she's dating the prince. And she literally saw her best friend get beaten for doing that same crime and they're still sneaking around and being together. In my head I was just like, what the hell are you thinking? That's such a bad idea on so many levels. You live in a giant castle where there's a ton of guards and people going around all the time. It's so easy for you guys to get caught and then beaten. It's just such a stupid idea to be cheating on the prince. And in this book the prince was given more character to him, getting to know him better and finding out his backstory. His backstory is really sad, and his dad beating him, that backstory made sense to show why he is who he is, but I was looking for a little bit more character to him. He's still the typical good prince with no flaws. Like, having your dad beat you is awful, but it's not a flaw, it's just something in your backstory. But I just got so emotional seeing a character who's been so good and kind throughout this whole. But Maxon is actually so great though for still giving America time to sort out her feelings. And I was just so frustrated when she was being a hypocrite when he was establishing a relationship with another girl. Like, why are you jealous? A, you're literally cheating on him too. B, you haven't even made up your mind about if you want to stay with him or not. So I don't understand why you're having all these conflicting feelings. But now while we're on the subject of America, I really want to talk about her denouncement of the caste system on TV. I was doing that hand clapping emoji when she was doing that. She is one of the lowest caste there and she knows how wrong the system is, and I think it was so great to give her that agency. It was such a badass moment for her to be able to say, no, the system is wrong for so many reasons on TV in front of the royal family. And afterwards when she goes back and says that she only did it because she was angry, it was just a weird moment for me because finally she had some agency to do something, to point out what is wrong with their system of government. It was such a Gryffindor thing to do. Like, she was so brave and courageous, and then she takes it back. The only time that she had some like badass agency, she regrets it afterwards. I forgot to mention Celeste in this video. Celeste is still there, and when America caught Mason with Celeste, I just didn't even know how to feel, and then by him stating that Celeste is using him for his title, he's gonna use her for her body, just frustrated me too. Like, so many things frustrated me about this book. But in the end, ultimately, I found it was a good book. And the rebels, whenever the rebels were around, it quickened the pace of the story. And I enjoyed it because I found the pace of this book a little bit too slow for me. Whenever the rebels were in the story, there was a sense of danger, and the pace was no longer tortuously slow. In this book, the author did a better job of making the characters seem like people, not just characters. And that made it more enjoyable. And the increased time that the rebels were in the book was definitely a plus. So thank you for watching my brief word vomit on the Elite. I'm sorry that I said so many negatives about this book. They were positive. I really hope that I counterweighed them and gave a balanced view, because it might sound like I didn't enjoy the book, but I did. So thanks for watching. Bye!
Hi everyone!
Hello, we're at Kellie's Reads. Make sure you click the subscribe button.
It's fine.